of the 3 parts of the series, and then we'll have the 4th and 5th parts later on, I think about the 1st of December. This is Take a Sad Song and Make It Better. Reverend Rhona Segarra is the minister at New Westminster in BC. She's a delight to listen to. She's done her homework on the Beatles, and I hope you enjoy this talk from her about these 5 songs she's going to talk about today.
Last week, we looked at revolution and explored how we can use Beatles songs to change our world. And we sang Imagine, and we sang Revolution, and we sang Help, and Across the Universe, and then we ended with Here Comes the Sun. And we'll sing some of those again in week 5 in our Festival of Song. Today, though, I want to explore ideas about how we shape our life experiences. And we're going to look at 5 songs briefly. Yesterday, Octopus's Garden, Let It Be, Hey Jude, and then All You Need Is Love. And I'd like to start with yesterday. Where is it? There we go. Have you ever wished that you could just turn back the clock? Have you ever wished that you could take something back that has come out of your mouth? Have you ever wished you had made a different decision about something and feel the weight of those consequences now? Well, if any of that has happened to you ever, I know it's happened to me, then yesterday is something that you can identify with, the words of the song, which is all about the idea of the past seems like it was so peaceful. I've said something wrong, I've done something wrong, and now my troubles are here to stay. There's this idea of being less than because of this decision we made. I'm not half the man I used to be. There's a shadow hanging over me. And this feeling of heaviness that comes from these decisions that we may have made, or the consequences of the things we've said or not said, done or not done. And at times, don't you wish that you could also just hide away? Long for yesterday, can't undo the past. Now all I want to do is crawl into a place where I can feel secure. Hide away from the world. To me, that's what this song represents. It's the anguish of decisions that today, in today's language, parents would say was a poor decision. Make decisions. Where can we hide away? The Octopus's Garden. Why do I say that? Because, of course, I'm not talking about a literal Octopus's Garden, but that is how the story or the song came to be. I'm talking about a metaphorical, metaphysical Octopus's Garden for ourselves. The song Octopus's Garden was written by Ringo Starr, and it is one of the only 2 songs that were written by him. And he had this idea for a song, for this song, because he was on a boat having lunch with his friend Peter Sellers, the actor Peter Sellers. Remember him? And after lunch, the captain was telling them about what octopus do. And what octopus do is they float around, swimming around the bottom of the ocean along the seabed, and they pick up little trinkets that they then take and create a hiding place with. And the captain, I don't know if he called it an octopus's garden, but Ringo had this image of the octopus picking up all of these little treasures and creating a safe haven for itself. And he identified with that longing. Because what he said is that at that time, I just wanted to be under the sea too. It was a time when the Beatles were at their most famous, and there was some friction between the boys, and there was a lot going on. Managers telling them what to do, places they had to be, and they had kind of lost themselves. And that is the reason I chose the meditation I did with you today, is because we, at times, want to hide away. Now I need a place to hide away. The place to hide away is within ourselves. And the treasures that help us to restore who we are and feel protected are the values that we hold and the memories that we hold that remind us about who we are at our core. Because we're not all that busy circumstance stuff. So one of the ways that we learned to interpret songs and passages at school was to write the passage on one side of the page, and then on the other side to add an interpretation. So let me just show you what that might look like with these lyrics. I'd like to be under the sea. I long for a place of peace beneath the storm of my emotions. In an octopus's garden in the shade. A place of restoration, a place of comfort. He let us in, knows where we've been. This is perhaps the most overlooked idea, which is that if we think of ourselves as the octopus and the person creating the garden, then the octopus part of us, if you will, is what some would say is our highest consciousness. It is the wisdom within us that knows instinctively and longs instinctively for this place of calm. It is also the wisdom that recognizes that there are parts of us that are scared, and parts of us that need comfort, and parts of us that get overwhelmed. And so the higher part of us, the octopus, capital O, lets us in, lets those emotions in, and has compassion for them, knows where we've been. So you can think of octopus in this case as God, as universe, as higher wisdom, as higher self, as capital self, whatever language you find more comfortable. But the idea that we all recognize is that there are parts of us, and there is another part of us that is almost like the universal observer. It's always kind of watching, holding space, longing for us to come back to our own octopus's garden. And then I'd ask my friends to come and see. Now this, metaphysically, friends inside of me are all my parts, all my thoughts. And it's an invitation for us all, every part of us, to thrive. Everybody is invited to the party. And then we get the idea of what the promise of this garden might be. That we would be warm beneath the storm. The idea that nothing is going to change my world. There's a coziness in the word warm and little hideaway beneath the waves. Doesn't that sound awesome? And then we see the words resting, and we see the idea of restoration, of resetting so that we can respond to life. Singing and dancing around, shouting, swimming about, this idea of freedom, of no judgment, of absolute joy. Why? Because we know we can't be found. There's nothing to fear. Nothing is going to change my inner world. Nothing will disturb my inner peace. And then we get to, oh, what joy for every girl and boy. Well, out there, even if we just lived a place that was always happy, that's fun for everyone. But metaphysically, it's the girls and boys within us. Metaphysics is just a way of saying, what are the things out there and how do they actually happen within me? And so here's the promise of living in an octopus's garden, sinking beneath the waves to a little hideaway, is that all of the parts of us will have an opportunity to thrive, an opportunity to find joy and find peace, because they know that they're secure. I have a 13-month-old granddaughter. She lives in this place. Fear is not part of her vocabulary, emotionally and certainly not physically. But because she doesn't know that there's anything that she should be afraid of, she lives in an octopus's garden. She knows that she's safe. She knows that there is nothing to fear, that she is protected. And so, everyone would be happy because no one will interfere. Even if they're trying to tell us what to do, we know who we are. You'll never hear this song the same way. But I do encourage you to take those images from your meditation, the images of a garden where you have chosen treasures and placed them within you, because it helps you to anchor yourself to what matters. And it is from there then that you'll find a place where you can respond rather than react. Find your own octopus's garden. Then we go to Hey Jude, written by Paul McCartney to Julian Lennon, because John and Cynthia Lennon were separating. And it was originally called Hey Jules, but they decided to call it Hey Jude because it sounded better. And for this song, as we just briefly go through the lyrics, imagine that the she or the her that is referred to in this song are anything that you hold some sadness about. It may be a person or a dream or a talent, a love, a situation that you might regret. And what we see with these words is the first thing we're told is don't make it bad. Make it better. Where do you get to do that? You choose it. In your mind, you get to make it bad. You can also choose to make it better. And how do we start to do that? We let this thing, whatever it is, into our heart. Now, this is actually not always that easy, because when we are in a place where something is hurting, where something feels bad, something feels sad, we don't want to have any part of that. And so we have a tendency to deny it, or depress it, or repress it, or suppress it, and turn away from it. But this invitation is, rather than denouncing it, the invitation is to let it into your heart, so you can start to make it better. You may have heard the saying, there is no healing without the feeling. This is the idea of leaning into it so that you can allow it to have space and allow it to dissipate. Then we see, anytime you feel the pain. So it actually nails the idea that when it starts to feel uncomfortable, what do? We want to turn away from it. And what Paul McCartney is saying here is don't. But also, don't let it get too big. Don't carry the world upon your shoulders. Because the danger of doing this and turning away is that you turn away from all of your emotions. Don't you know that it's a fool who plays it cool? Makes his world a little colder. When we close ourselves up from emotion, our world becomes smaller, more cold, less warm, less welcoming, less open. So there's this mixed idea. It's like, don't carry the world on the shoulder, and at the same time, be open to the experience. And here, you've found it. You've identified whatever it is. Now go and get it. Because that's how you heal it. Grab the opportunity for peace. Let out anger. Let in peace. Let out shame. Let in acceptance. Let out hurt. Let in healing. Let in a new perspective. You're waiting for someone else to do it? Don't you know that it's just you? And you are enough. You'll do. The movement you need is on your shoulder. I'm reminded of Jesus' saying, turn the other cheek. The movement you need is on your shoulder. Look at it differently. It's up to you. You make up the meaning. Okay. How do you do that? You can decide to let it be. Now, this song was written by Paul after he had a dream in which his mother spoke to him. His mother passed away when Paul was 14. And now the Beatles were, many years later now, the Beatles were at the height of their popularity, and at the same time, it wasn't feeling all that great. And he was feeling a little troubled. Went to bed one night, his mother, whose name was Mary, had this dream in which she said to him, not to worry, it'll be all right. And he woke up and wrote this song. And what's interesting about this song is the structure as well as the message. It starts out with, when I find myself in times of trouble, let it be. My mother comes to me. My inner wisdom, love, is often represented by mother. Love is often represented by Mary. What does love say? Let it be. In my hour of darkness, she's right there, whispering, first speaking, and then whispering, let it be, let it be. Accept, accept, accept. And then it goes out to the world. When the broken-hearted people of the world agree that there will be an answer, let it be. There's hope. Though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see there will be an answer, let it be. So it's this, once I kind of get this message for myself, I can see it out there. And in the seeing it out there, I can bring it back to me. And it comes back to me. When the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow. Let it be. That allows me to emerge as if woken up. As Paul McCartney said, he woke up and he felt much better. Waking up to the sound of optimism, the sound of music, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. This darkness, when my hour of darkness, and then you see the contrast in this third verse when it's back at me, shine until tomorrow. And then this idea of speaking and then allowing it to whisper in your background, let it be, let it be, let it be. When you find yourself in times of trouble, when you find yourself longing for yesterday, take time to restore yourself, to become in touch with the things that matter to you most. Find a place that is your octopus's garden, a place that's soft and warm, a hideaway beneath the waves. And then from that place of safety, open your heart and start to make it better. Because the movement you need is on your shoulder. And one of the most powerful strategies to help you to take a sad song and make it better is to let it be. In your hour of darkness, listen to the words, listen to the whisper that encourages you and assures you that if you let it be, it will be all right. It's all included. And today, at the very end of our program, we're going to sing a song that reminds us that it's all included. Because we'll sing All You Need Is Love.